Good morning, everybody. We will start with the lesson on chairing a meeting. Now, chairing a meeting is something that you will be doing a little bit later. Once you finish your graduation, you will start attending interviews. Hopefully, you will be selected, and then you will start working in a company or in a private firm. These are places where you generally have meetings. And in these business meetings, definitely there will be someone who will be heading the meeting. That is somebody who will be leading the meeting. Gradually, after some time, it might be you who will be leading these meetings. So when you reach that point, how will you be able to chair the meeting? How will you be able to see to it that the meeting goes very smoothly? These are things that we will be discussing in this particular topic. So the chair is basically the head or the prime position. Usually in our dining tables also, we have this Indian custom wherein the head of the table generally sits at the prime position. The prime position might usually be at the pole end of the table, either ends of the table. So here also, it is the person who heads the office or the person who is in charge of the meeting. That person will chair the meeting. So let's say if it is in a college, if it is in the English department, the head of the department, I would be chairing the meeting. So everyone sits around, just as you see in the slide. Everyone will be sitting around. Like this. So of course, this is a beautiful office, and you've got almost ceiling to wall glass windows. But of course, any meeting place can be made comfortable, can be made to look beautiful, providing you take a little bit of time and you start arranging the furniture and things like that. So this is one. You can see at the prime position, you have one chair where this person would be heading. Possibly next to the person, there is a secretary with a computer. That depends on how big your company is. So we'll just go ahead and see how these things matter a lot. The next thing is, what makes a good chair? Give me a minute. Let me just get the... Yes. So what makes a good chair? So this person, the chairman, or the person who is going to lead the meeting, this person should help to make the meeting run smoothly and efficiently. This person is also known as the facilitator. So this is very important. Who is a facilitator? The facilitator is the person who runs the meeting smoothly and efficiently. Naturally, to begin the meeting, the chair should see to it that all the agenda, all the items, all the business dealings are discussed. Then he should also see that everyone's views are heard, clear decisions are reached, the meeting starts and finishes on time. So these are certain things that the chair or the facilitator should do. The person would also be thinking about how the meeting is conducted, how smoothly it should be effected, and all these things. So it's the chair is a person of importance, because there are so many things that the chair needs to do, and the chair also needs to strike a balance between hearing everybody's views and going through the business. So one very important thing that you need to notice is that you need to understand is that you should never use the position of your chair as an opportunity to put forward only your views and dominate the meeting. So this is very important. The chair, the person who is chairing the meeting, you should not force your ideas on them. You've called everyone, you've asked them to come for a meeting primarily because you need to see to it that they have their views and they understand and they agree to points that you speak and the points that they speak, and you generally accept and agree with them. So in this, the one most important thing that you need to do is to have an agenda. So what is an agenda? An agenda is simply a list of things that you need to discuss in the meeting. As well as helping you plan, it's a useful way of making sure that you cover everything you need at the meeting. So for example, the department meeting that I usually hold in once a month. So that particular meeting would generally cover different things like, topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, just as it is there on your screen. The general discussions that we would have would be that about the portions that have been completed. Then we have a discussion from each class teacher. So maybe your class tutor, 4th semester BA students teacher, the teacher would come in, and Abhishek sir would come in and talk about the class and certain events or certain happenings that have occurred in the class and things like that. So basically, it's a time for the chair, for the person who heads the department, to understand or have a general idea of what is going on around in the department. So a clear agenda with specific topics, that is giving time for each one of them to talk out, to speak out. This, and also with timings if possible. That is, they're not supposed to extend the time. They're not supposed to. They may be given 5 minutes or 7 minutes, but they should try to finish it by that time. So this is very important, and this really helps because timing is very important. So generally what we do is, just after the lunch break, 1:45 is after our lunch, we have a lunch of about half an hour on that particular day, and by 2:30 we start the meeting. So generally 2:30 to 3:15 or 2:30 to 3:30. 3:30 is sign out time. So by about 3:15 the meeting is over. So this is done every month. For this, timing is very important, and if it is said that the productive meetings can happen if the meeting is not more than 2 hours. So generally we have a 1 hour meeting, and this is how it goes. So what do we do for the meeting? What we try to do is, we see that the whole thing, the whole points are discussed on time. Then we involve everyone. Then we try to reach decisions. And of course, there might be certain things inside there, but of course, in our department, we do not have that problem. But in some meetings, some board meetings, you might have difficult people. So how do you deal with difficult people? These are certain things that we'll be discussing through today's class. These 4 points we'll be discussing one by one. So the first point would be how to get through the business. So you know that it is very difficult to go through the business if it drags for hours. Suppose, as I said, a productive meeting will generally last for 2 hours. But suppose the meeting drags for 3 or 4 hours, then everybody gets demoralized. People might want to go home. People might have other commitments. So always have a very clear agenda with respect to your timings. And then when you talk about an agenda, briefly discuss about that agenda. And then also never assume that people know what you're talking about. So in certain things, let's say, suppose there must have been a particular event that happened in the college, and you say, okay, let's talk about that. But maybe another one particular teacher might not know about the event. So you could give a small gist, a small idea before going into the topic. So never assume that everyone knows what you are talking about. So take time to go over the issue, maybe explain a little bit about it, and then you can start the discussion. But always keep eye on the time. See to it that you keep to the time limit, because if you keep to the time limit, everyone will appreciate you. And make sure that you have a watch or a stopwatch or your mobile phone, so that you will be able to look onto it and see to it that you stick to timings, plus you stick to the agenda. Whatever you have written on the agenda, you're supposed to stick to that, because this is something that is very important. Now, in between, sometimes some small private conversations will start creeping in. They might start talking about, yeah, this is what happened at my. So we'll say, okay, we'll discuss that a little bit later. Let's go back to the meeting. So like this, you have to chair the meeting with a clear agenda, and you have to see to it that you get through the business on time. So this is a small agenda. It's called the pyramid model. Now, in the pyramid model, you'll see that certain people have certain roles. Now, these are for big meetings, for company meetings. In the department, we do not have such things. But at the same time, you will have a host, you will have a facilitator. But here we'll have only a facilitator, which would be me. Then there would be a timekeeper. Of course, here I keep to the timings. Of course, there will always be refreshments. Refreshments sometimes are served during the meeting. Sometimes it might be before the meeting, usually not after. And then there will be a note taker. There will be a secretary. The secretary will keep writing the notes as to what happened, and so that later this would be given in a printed format and possibly emailed to everyone for the next meeting, prior to the next meeting. Before the next meeting, this would be emailed, so that they will have a brief idea of what happened during the last meeting. So what were the meeting objectives? What did you intend? What are the things that you have discussed and you have come to an agreement? For example, suppose the principal calls us for a meeting. The principal will generally call us for a meeting close to examination time or close to semester end. And the principal would have a general idea. The principal would tell us, like, for example, for your fourth semester, principal had called a meeting in March and asked us that, told us that we were planning to have the fourth semester examinations by the mid of May. Now, this is basically to adjust the semester. We are slightly late because of the COVID situations, but at the same time, we will try our best to complete the portions, and we will do the examination, so that you will be on track on the fifth semester when you come to college. Now, this would involve difficulties for a few people, but then overall, if there are not many difficulties, it would be accepted, and this is what happened for us also. This was accepted, and now, as you all know, that is clearly why we are trying to finish the portions early, and that Shifana, I think we lost connection.
Okay, sir.
Where did we reach, Ormendo? Did you happen to listen to this, the agenda? Shifana, did you get the agenda? So one of the most important thing is that you involve everyone. See to it that you hear everyone's views. Make sure that they get involved in the meeting. Another thing that you need to do is to see to it that that decisions are made. Decisions are made in the sense that uh, it is very easy for discussions to wander about and then drift away without any decision or action agreed. So sometimes the decisions may not be able to, they may be inconclusive. So to help make the meetings reach decisions, you have to practice and you have to develop the confidence to do it very well. So what you need to do is, one, you need to listen carefully. You need to jot down points so that you will be able to, you'll be you understand the whole thing. Then when you start the discussion, tell them that this discussion is about these things and we need to get a clear picture about it, and we need to agree or disagree or whatever. I want your views. So based on the different points of view, you need to sum up and you need to make a decision. Now making a decision is of course not very easy, but at the same time you should see to it that the decisions are made right. And also never assume that if they keep silent, that means they're in agreement. In many places that's what happens, nobody speaks, and then you feel that they are in agreement. But make sure that people say what they've been what they want, so that you will be able to understand about the problems and all those things. So reaching decision, making a decision is an art, and this is what, as a chair, you should do. If as a facilitator, you should be able to reach decisions after allowing them to discuss about their points and all those things. Another thing is the dealing with difficult people. There are different types of people. One would be those people who talk non-stop. Second would be those people who know it all. That is, they know everything. Third would be those people who are just focused on one particular issue. Now, see to it that you need to discuss with all these people, but remind people, just when you start the meeting, remind them about the meeting rules. That is, they, most of them or everyone will have to agree to these things. That is, one, you should not talk too much, and that you should not be focused on a particular one issue only. I mean, you should take a general view also. So sometimes two people will be getting into a very heated discussion. If so, you summarize the points made by each, and then try to arrive at a decision. Sometimes some people might be disruptive. They might bang on the table. They might get up and they might walk out, but then at that time you can't get angry. You maintain a calm composure and see to it that the meeting continues. You may say, Mr. So and so, it is not right for you to leave the meeting. Please do not go. But again, he says, nothing doing, I am going. Leave the person. That's the only way, because you have to be firm, but at the same time, you have to understand that they too will have their rights. They might not have agreed with the proposal that everyone else has agreed with. So that would also be one factor. So dealing with difficult people is not very easy, but that also you need to look into as a chair. And finally, how did this meeting go? This is very useful because you always need to get a feedback of how the meeting went. Once you finish the meeting, you just ask everyone. One, you can get a useful feedback. Nowadays, you can send a form to them so that they'll be able to fill out the form. You need not the form need not contain an email address. It can you can try to get their feedback without even knowing their names. Now this will be very good, because what are the things that you need to correct? This you will be able to understand based on the feedback that you get. So allow time after the meeting is finished to talk to the people, talk to the committee members, see how the meeting went, send a feedback form so that they'll be able to fill it up and send it back to you. Read the feedback so that you will be able to make your next meeting better. And also think about the next meeting. Try to make it as interesting as possible. Try to arrive at conclusions with everyone on board. Thus, you will be a good chair, and you will be a good facilitator, and you will be able to make your meetings successful. Thank you very much.